The end of the road has only just begun, and Fast X leaves behind plenty of questions for the next installment of the franchise to answer. Here's what happened in all the furious action. Warning, spoilers for Fast X ahead. Dominic Toretto has faced a lot of trouble in his life, from international supercriminals to members of his own family, but he's never faced anyone quite like Jason Momoa's Dante Reyes, a psychotic mastermind with a major grudge against the Toretto crew. I'm Dante. Enchante. Dom and his friends killed Reyes' father and stole the family's money stash back in Fast 5, so Dante views Dom as the source of all of his suffering. He makes it his mission to make Dom suffer in kind. Dante sets to work dismantling the entire Toretto family, and he more or less succeeds by the end of the film, leaving almost everyone in some kind of dangerous limbo. Dom himself narrowly escapes Dante's wrath atop a dam in Portugal. He finds himself in the water below with no means of escape as Dante prepares to explode the whole dam and bring it down around Dom and his son Brian. Moments before, Dom remarks that Dante's one mistake was leaving him with a car, but now he doesn't even have that. It's hard to imagine how he finds his way out of this one. We'll have to wait until the next film to find out. John Cena's Jacob Toretto was only recently welcomed back into the family fold after years of estrangement and resentment. After redeeming himself at the end of F9, Jacob devotes his time and considerable talent to protecting little Brian at all costs, taking him to a secret hideout and then trying to help him escape with Dom. Sup? Uncle Jacob? Your dad sent me. It's clear throughout that Jacob is also still carrying a lot of guilt over his previous actions. He wants to be a good uncle and a good brother to prove that he's earned where he is now. That desire, and the guilt behind it, culminates late in the film when Jacob realizes that he's lost Brian to Dante and only has one move left, sacrificing himself so Dom can get to his son. Despite Dom's protests, he goes down in a blaze of glory, taking out Dante's men and clearing a path for his big brother to keep fighting. The film is moving really fast at this point, so there's little time to mourn Jacob, or to even confirm that he's actually dead. It seems like he's probably gone, but the fallout of his sacrifice is very much yet to come. Michelle Rodriguez's Letty Ortiz is sort of the odd woman out of the Toretto crew after the job in Rome goes very wrong. It makes her the last major fighting chance the family has against Dante. Letty gets picked up by the agency very early on, and she's taken to a black site where she's forced to share a cell with Charlize Theron's Cypher, who's already had a run-in with Dante. The two women don't get along, to say the least, but Letty realizes Cypher has a way out of the black site. When she gets word from Brie Larson's Tess that there's hope for the family yet, Letty decides to team up with Cypher for an escape. What she thinks will be a quick way out, though, eventually leads to the reveal that she's stuck in Antarctica. We leave Letty alongside her former enemy, with no real idea of what's happened to the rest of her family. Dante's attack in Rome throws the family into chaos, and the Toretto crew spends the rest of Fast X divided. But at least Tej, Roman, Ramsey, and Han have each other. With few resources, thanks to Dante's hacking, they hop around the world in search of weapons they can use to head out and help Dom. They finally get a plane load of support that will drop them right into the fight in Portugal. What they didn't count on was a last-minute betrayal. Amaze, who had been the acting director of the agency and was supposedly helping Dom, reveals himself as Dante's longtime ally just in time to hop up with a missile launcher and shoot down the plane. The last we see of Tej, Roman, Ramsey, and Han, they're running for cover in the back of the plane. The plane crashes around the side of a mountain and bursts into flames. The back of that plane was loaded with all kinds of cool tech they could use to escape, and if Han's very existence has taught us anything, it's that Toretto crew members are pretty hard to kill. So odds are we'll see them all again. It's not clear how Amaze managed to get to such a significant post within the agency, but Mr. Nobody is in hiding, and Little Nobody is seriously injured in the Rome incident, so he's the man left in charge. Tess tries to fight him on it, but Amaze's standing with the organization is such that she can't usurp his authority or stop his initial efforts to take down the Toretto crew. Amaze later endears himself to Dom, then even later doubles back and betrays him. It turns out that Amaze has been working alongside Dante for a full decade, ever since the heist in Fast 5, and his presence in the agency was the leg up that Dante needed to achieve his goals. He may have compromised the whole organization. Dante Reyes spends a lot of time talking about suffering, and that his father was killed 10 years earlier. By the end of the movie, he seems to have achieved his goal of squeezing out every ounce of suffering from Dom that he possibly can. Every member of the Toretto crew is either apparently dead, missing, or in dire mortal peril. I am the man who's going to break your family, piece by piece. So, does that mean Dante won? We know the long answer to that question is some version of no, because there's still at least one more movie to go after this one. But for the moment, there's definitely an air of victory here, if only because it's going to take what's left of the Toretto crew time to pick up the pieces. The big question, then, is, will Dante let all this winning go to his head and make a big mistake? Jason Statham's Deckard Shaw is only in Fast X briefly, when Han decides to go to him for help in securing resources to keep up the fight against Dante. But his quick appearance is quite significant. For one, it's the first time the pair have met since Shaw seemingly killed Han years ago. It also reveals something even bigger about Dante's fight. Let's dig some graves. While in Shaw's hideout, Ramsey discovers that the money Dante stole from the crew's accounts has been used to hire mercenaries from around the world and send them after everyone who's ever helped the Toretto crew do anything. That means dozens of people are now targets, including Shaw's own mother, Queenie, who tried to help Dom get out of Rome earlier in the film. With his mother in the crosshairs, Shaw springs into action, loads up his gear, and heads out in hopes of keeping Queenie safe. He's not part of the main fight against Dante, but he is heading into something dramatic and probably very bloody, leaving us to wonder how that fight goes. We'll just have to see what the next film will reveal about Shaw's personal mission. Several new faces emerge throughout Fast X, including Tess, Mr. Nobody's daughter who believes in Dom no matter what the rest of the agency says. There's also Daniela Melchior's Isabel, a Brazilian street racer who also happens to have ties to Dom's past. She's the sister of Elena, Dom's former lover and little Brian's mother, who died in Fate of the Furious. Isabel's ties to the Toretto family push her to help Dom fight Dante, and Dom's instinct to protect his family pushes him to protect Isabel at all costs. By the end of Dom's adventures in Rio, Tess is seriously wounded and Isabel is very nearly killed by Dante. Dom makes the decision to put the two women together, asking Isabel to drive Tess to a hospital, leaving them both seemingly safe from Dante's influence for now. So far, they're relatively minor allies. But thanks to the mercenaries looking for everyone aligned with Toretto, they're now in the crosshairs once again. Mia Toretto, played by Jordana Brewster, has been in and out of her family's battles in recent years, spending a lot of time off in hiding with her husband Brian and their children. In Fast X, she hangs around to visit with her abuelita, played by Rita Moreno, in Los Angeles. She then watches little Brian while Dom and Letty head to Rome. When the agency comes for them both, Mia works to fight them off alongside Jacob, who takes Brian and tells Mia to head back to her own family. By the end of the film, as far as we know, Mia is safe with her husband and children, back in hiding while the fight goes on without her. But we also know that Dante has sent hired killers after the entire family, and while Mia is good at staying hidden, she might not be able to stay hidden forever. Once she hears about what's happening with Dom, though, she might not want to stay hidden, so don't be surprised if she pops up again in the next movie, ready to fight alongside her brother. For years, Mr. Nobody was a crucial ally to the Toretto family, a leader with seemingly infinite resources who saw enough potential in Dom and his crew to shield them from the fallout of their missions. His protege, Little Nobody, picked up that baton after Mr. Nobody's injury and remained a major supporter of the family while Mr. Nobody went into hiding. Now, thanks to Dante's machinations, both Nobodies are out of commission. Mr. Nobody is gone, Little Nobody is injured, and the agency is in the hands of a turncoat. So Dom and his family have lost some critical support at the time when they need it most. That said, neither of the Nobodies is dead, and they got to leadership positions in an international spy agency because they're smart, strategic, and know people. It wouldn't be surprising at all to see one or both of them come roaring back in the next film.